Hey Spuds, it's Jamie. Welcome back to another video. First on our channel. I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here for this time's installment of LGBTQ plus specific. Am I the butthole posts? Yay! My voice broke on butthole. We are going to be looking at some trans specific, LGBT plus generally specific Am I the Asshole posts from the subreddit. Ooh yeah. And if you do like this kind of content, then go check out our podcast 1-800-DRAMA, where this is what we do. Yeah, we talk about posts and people being drama.
Hello, don't mind me just interrupting my own video to bring to you a pretty amazing Pride collaboration that you don't want to miss because you too can win in multiple ways. Today's video is in collaboration with Matchmasters, the most popular multiplayer match 3 game in the world. Thank you Matchmasters for sponsoring. I'm pretty sure you spuds know by now how much I love games, and in Matchmasters you can play solo, against your friends, or against other players around the world. And as you play, you unlock boosters, the most powerful power-ups, and unleash them to cause mayhem on your opponents. There's nothing quite like the feeling of being a little bit behind in a match and then boom, you get a booster that propels you right into the lead. I love the graphics too, especially these adorable little characters. I am the crocodile. For now. It's super fun and free to download, so it's already a win. But on top of that, this Pride Matchmasters is matching you, see what I did there? With an incredible and meaningful Pride themed giveaway. I absolutely love being able to work with brands that actually want to make a difference. And authentic support to the LGBT plus community makes me want to support them even more. You may have heard of Spectrum Outfitters, a trans founded brand who provides safe, affordable, and accessible binding options as well as other gender affirming products and gifts. The Matchmasters team are matching not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of you wonderful spuds with a £250 gift card to Spectrum Outfitters. I know just how life-changing gender-affirming items can be, so thank you Matchmasters. This is such an incredible and meaningful way to contribute towards Pride. All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning one of the gift cards is download the game using the link in the description box and win 250 trophies, which is very achievable and very fun, and now also supports trans rights, so why not? Beyond supporting their amazing allyship, I'd also just recommend downloading the game because it's super fun to play. It's free to download on both iOS and Android, so go click that link in the description box or scan this handy QR code to give it a go for yourself and enter to win one of the gift cards. Now, on with the video. Thank you for listening.
Am I the asshole for refusing to accept my trans friend's new name? Depends on what, like, yeah, I started saying depends on, but I mean probably. Why wouldn't you accept somebody's name? E and I have been best friends since middle school and are both in our mid-20s. Quarantine has not been kind to E, and in a fit of stress she broke down and told me that she's always felt like and wanted to be a woman. Quarantine has not been kind to E. Okay, without more context, I'm curious over that statement. I did my best to support misgendering, and after some weeks of conversations with me and with her therapist, E was eventually able to decide that she was going to transition, shared this news with the rest of our friend group and eventually with her family, and almost everyone has received the news well and have tried to be supportive. Okay, great. I assumed the misgendering was a mistake. It happens when things are new. Okay, cool so far. Everything has gone surprisingly well for E over the last few months. Yes, I'm very glad to hear that she's had support from most people and that it's gone well. That's fantastic. The few people who didn't like the situation left her life, and the majority who stuck with her will sometimes still refer to E as he or him, but they quickly correct themselves and E doesn't mind, especially if she still goes by her male name until she comes up with a new female name that she likes. Okay, cool. This is making sense so far, and therein lies the problem. Oh dear. E has finally settled on a new name and proudly shared it with us. It's Star Dancer. She wants to be called Star Dancer. She's going to legally change her name to Star Dancer. We get it. I feel like the repetition of the name is because they're trying to drill into people like,
this is unbelievable, right?
I thought it was a joke at first, but no, she's serious about this. I told her that this was extremely stupid and she was making a terrible life decision, and I'm the only person who seems to think so. Star Dancer, it's unusual. It is really unusual, and it's not to say no one's ever going to judge her for having that name. There probably will be questions about it or double takes when she tells people occasionally, but if that's the name that she wants and she's comfortable with, I've heard of celebrities calling their kids things that are significantly more out there and unusual than Star Dancer. You could go by Star as short. There's nicknames in and around that if you didn't want to always go by Star Dancer. I think if that is the name that she feels comfortable with, is such such a subjective thing. Just because you don't like it and you're judging somebody for having that name doesn't mean everybody will feel that way, and doesn't mean that it's a stupid thing for her to do. No one else, not even her parents, have counseled against this idiocy. There's a real like intenseness. It's not just a, hey, my friend is thinking of using this name and I'm a little concerned that, you know, it's not the most typical name and that may be difficult for her or whatever, blah blah blah, just wondering if I should mention it to her. It's like the idiocy in the short sentences of like star dancer, and then saying it's extremely stupid and a terrible life decision. I think that's a bit dramatic, personally. Everyone's adopted a live and let live attitude, which is why I'm writing this and asking for additional viewpoints. Isn't that the right attitude to take, though? Like, live and let live. Like, that's her name, that's her life. If she wants to be called Star Dancer and she gets judged sometimes for it, then that's something that she has to deal with. We have had 2 serious fights over this shit, and right now I'm feeling that I'm perfectly in the right for wanting to die on this hill. You'd lose a friendship because you don't like her name. Okay, that is a very interesting hill to die on. Our friendship has never been this strained, and if ending it after all these years is what I need to do in order to show how strong my feelings are on the matter, then I'm going to do it. She's making an absurd, life-changing decision, and as a friend, a best friend, I have a responsibility to prevent her from shit up. Am I the crazy one? Am I really being the arsehole here? Personally, yeah. I mean, like, personally, Star Dancer is not a name I would pick. Being a trans person, I might see that name and be like, I feel like someone has changed their own name to this for whatever reason. But I think it's really telling as well that OP, until revealing that the new name chosen was Star Dancer and they don't like it, referred to their friend as E and said that they're going by their male name, which I would assume maybe begins with an E, until they have chosen their new name. But they have chosen their new name. That's the name that should have been used from the beginning. It should have started with, I have a friend who is a trans woman and she's chosen the name Star Dancer, and then go from there. Because like, referring to her as E, even if you don't like that name, you are referring to her as something and in a way that is not correct for her. She has chosen her new name and you are disrespecting that just because you don't like it and you think it's bizarre. There doesn't seem to be like any detail about specifically what they are worried about with the name. I'm feeling a little confused because whenever there's a situation that doesn't make sense, it does not make sense to me that like you would be totally fine and accept your friend being trans and like you're cool with that, and then it's the name that you would literally ruin a best friendship over because you don't like the name they've chosen. That feels very odd to me. It's like, if you think it's gonna impact things negatively for them in their lives, like, I don't know, a common trope for things like this seems to be like on a CV, if you feel like people won't take them seriously, then express those like calmly and just say, look, at the end of the day, your name, your choice, just wondering if you've thought over these different scenarios with using that name. Oh, you have? Great, cool. Or, oh, you didn't? Well, maybe now is a good time to think about it, and if you still want to go with that name, great. I just, as a friend, wanted to bring up a couple points about how it could impact things. But there's not been anything specific given. There just seems to be like a lot of anger, and I can't tell. I feel like it's coming from one of 3 places. I cannot tell which one, so I'm not trying to say which one it is. But the first reason I can think of is they are genuinely concerned that using the name Star Dancer will impact their friend's life in a large negative way, and they don't want to sit by and watch that happen, right? 2, they're embarrassed. They're getting secondhand embarrassment from the name, and they think it's just so ridiculously stupid. They don't want to have anything to do with somebody with that name. 3, there is a little bit of subconscious underlying discomfort over the fact that her friend is trans. I have no idea which one it is. Could be a combination of all 3, could be a combination of 2 of them. I'm not sure. I think they're kind of alluding to it being they're concerned for their friends like life going forward. But to me, that just seems like a really bizarre reason to end a friendship on. If you're worried, express it, but then if that's what your friend wants to do, it's not hurting them in any major way. It's like, I can see how if your friend wanted to do something like very reckless and illegal and that endangered their life or the lives of other people, why you would be so very strong on like, absolutely not, you cannot do this, I cannot continue this friendship if you behave in this way that could harm yourself and harm others. But over a name, it feels extreme. I would say like, yes, you are the asshole here. I appreciate that Star Dancer isn't the most common name, not a name I would choose for myself, but if I had a trans friend come out and say, hey, my chosen name is Star Dancer, who am I to tell them that it's stupid or wrong or to fall out with them so badly that we're not friends anymore over their name? I just find that a bit strange, and it's so subjective. Like, where does that line end of like what OP would consider like an acceptable name and what they would consider a non-acceptable name? What if they just wanted to be called Star? Is that acceptable? Apple? I don't know. So what I've done for this episode, which I think I did last time, and we always do it in the podcast and Shaba does it on her ones, is I have found some comments from other people about what they think of the post. So let's read some of those. You're the asshole. Yeah, it's an interesting choice, but it has no effect on you or your life, so roll with it. When my friend transitioned, he tried 3 different names, each time saying this is going to be it, but he would change his mind again. So his mum said you have to let everyone call you by your name for a year, and after, if you still like it, you can change it. There is also nothing wrong with trying out multiple names. I completely agree with this bit though of like, it is an interesting choice, but how does it impact the friend's life? If you express concerns for your friend over it very like kindly and they still want to go forward with that, then cool. But like, honestly, I don't really personally see how it is gonna like up their life, but maybe I'm just not seeing a bigger picture here that OP is seeing. It just seems like a very strong reaction from OP. Not the asshole. Some people need to be told what they are doing is a dumb decision. If someone told me they were going to play on the train track blindfolded, I'd speak up. Bit different though. Changing your name to something unusual, playing on a railway track when you can't see what might be coming. Like 2 very different scenarios. That's why I said earlier, if your friend is endangering their lives or endangering the lives of others and you can't sit by and watch that behavior continue, then fair, but a name is not doing that. I'm not saying it will never cause a negative impact in any social situation for them, but it's not up their lives. It's not equivalent to playing on a train track. A name like Star Dancer is setting yourself up for train wreck in the future when it comes to jobs, school and partners. Could you have done it in a nicer way? Yes, but at the end of the day you made your point. A lot of these are you the asshole, are you not the asshole situations can come down to you're the asshole not because of the opinion you hold, but because of the way you expressed it. Honesty without kindness is cruelty, and to be cruel is being asshole. Like, you can do things and be honest with your opinions, but go about it in a nice way that is respectful. You can share your opinion, but be nice about it and accept that your friend might not care about it and might be like, do you know what, I've thought about that it might impact like jobs and other things and people not liking the name, but I am fine with that. The name is something I like enough that none of that matters to me. And that's their choice. At the end of the day, I don't agree with this commenter personally, because one, they're comparing it to something that it's just not comparable to, but also I don't really get the whole train wreck in terms of like partners in particular. Like, sure, I can think of some very traditional workplaces that would probably judge it, but a majority of people are going to think that their parents gave them that name, and it's just, oh, how is it going to impact school? I feel like I'm missing something. You're the arsehole. Yeah, it's a dumb name, but it's her dumb name and you should leave your feelings and opinions out of it. This doesn't affect you at all. Sure, you would have to call her that, but that's a small price to pay for a meaningful friendship. You're shitting on her dreams and that's not cool. I personally don't agree that it's a dumb name. It's an unusual name that I do think people are going to judge in certain scenarios, but I don't think it's dumb. And it's not for anybody else's judgment when a grown adult is choosing their name. I will judge slightly when parents call their kid something that the kid has obviously got no control over, that could very well lead to some consequences. Like, didn't somebody want to call their kid like Nutella and it was banned? But a grown adult making this decision for themselves, let them do it. Why would you throw a friendship away over this? It doesn't make sense to me. And that was the first one. What did we think? Did you agree with the verdict? If you don't, that's fine. Like, you know, we can all have different opinions. I just think that the friend was going way overboard in their reaction to a name that they didn't have to go by that name. Their friend wasn't going,
You also must change your name to Star Dancer 2.0.
I don't get it, because does that mean that if their friend wanted to change their name to Olive and OP was like, oh,
I really hate the name Olive. I just think it's stupid.
then they would have had the same reaction, even though it's a more like traditional name? Like, what about Ethel or Bertha or Gertrude or one of these like names that was like kind of typical if you go back in time, but it's very not typical for today? Would they also have that same opinion? I don't know, but I would be curious. Also, I think Olive and Ethel are cute names. Am I the arsehole for rejecting a bisexual man because I am straight? Female. Yeah, if that's the only reason, if you literally wouldn't date a guy because he's bisexual, that is a little bizarre, because I feel like that must be rooted in some kind of biphobia, but I will read on before making a full judgment. This actually happened 3 years ago when I was 20, but it's something that's been on my mind recently. I'd met this guy on Tinder because I was interested in a casual hookup. At that time, I'd just gotten out of a long distance relationship with someone, so I felt exhausted. The first meetup was okay, but when I initiated for more with emphasis on casual, he told me he would prefer dating and asked me if I would like to try it first. After thinking about it for a week or so, I decided to give it a shot because I respected his straightforwardness and liked his personality, so we started to date, but he didn't tell me he was bisexual until after a month or two. Okay, it's like that, but he didn't tell me. It doesn't impact your relationship though. Obviously, if he were gay, then yes, fair, because that impacts your relationship because you're a woman. Would you expect a partner to, like, if they show interest in dating you and they were heterosexual, would you expect them to immediately clarify with you,
Oh, I am straight, by the way.
we don't request that. He's bi, he's attracted to women. I don't understand why it's this deal. Like,
Oh, he didn't come out until after a month or so.
okay, maybe he wanted to, like, get to know you a bit better before he revealed that bit of himself, the bit that doesn't impact your dating life with him. To be honest, I don't have a problem with non-hetero relationships. It's none of my business, and I support the right to love who you love within the laws of common sense, of course. Okay, whenever someone's like,
I don't have a problem with gay people, like it's just none of my business.
that sounds very much like, as long as it can be at arm's length from me and I don't have to deal with it personally, then okay. But as soon as it comes into like my bubble, then a little bit homophobic. But we'll read on. I'm not saying this person is homophobic. I'm saying that that statement is something I've heard from a lot of people who are like, okay when it's distant, but actually they are homophobic, but they can hold it in and it only comes out when it's somebody in their circle. Which is why I felt so hypocritical when I ended things. You literally ended things with him because he came out as bisexual. Okay, it's not like that guy could choose who he likes just like anyone else, but I still felt deeply uncomfortable being in a potential relationship with him. I just don't see myself with someone who is gay because I'm straight. But he's not gay. He's bisexual. He's not gay. And of course, you as a woman would not be or want to be in a relationship with a gay man. And you as a straight woman, I'm presuming, would not want to be in a relationship with another woman. But what I don't understand is, you're a straight woman in a relationship with a bisexual man. Where is the problem? It's hard to write about this because if a guy finds out a girl is actually MTF and he doesn't feel comfortable, from a Western perspective, it's generally okay to leave because the distinction is clear from the expectation and reality. Okay. If somebody just straight up is like,
Oh, I'm not gonna date trans people because I don't think they're their gender.
that's when it's transphobic. Or if I came out and somebody was like,
Oh, yeah, no, I don't like trans people.
you know, if they said to me like, and they misgendered me, that's transphobic. The difference here is that, what is the difference between a straight man and a bisexual man? The bisexual man has an attraction towards men as well as towards women. And the only reason why I feel like that would impact somebody's want to be with him is an assumption that he's gonna go off and be with a guy, or he's actually gay, or he's more likely to cheat. Like, it's all things that are rooted in false stereotypes and false beliefs. So OP continues, whereas I feel like this is grayer area. Is it wrong to want someone who is only straight, or is that inherently homophobic of me? It's biphobic, and especially the fact that you said, I don't see myself with someone who is gay because I'm straight. Like, it's not acknowledging that he's not gay, because he's not. He's bi. In the end, the breakup ended okay. I wasn't rude or bitter. I just explained I don't feel comfortable. He did try to make things work, but at that point, I just felt that relationship wasn't going anywhere, and I was already burnt out from one relationship prior. I also think I rushed into that one too fast because of my loneliness when I was trying to avoid doing so in the first place when I was trying for a hookup. My judgment was really clouded. To add, I'm not really insecure. I have a relatively healthy amount of self-esteem and mental stability. I also didn't see his queerness as something that he had to choose, either me or them type of spiel. I was even bi-curious at one point, but realized that I'm straighter than a ruler. Ha, sounds like it. If I'm really honest with myself, if this happened again, I think I would still decline. I haven't told anyone because at that point my friends were probably tired of hearing about the long distance one, so it's just something I kept to myself. But I want to know if this is a wrong mentality to have. Am I looking at this the wrong way? It's so hard with this one because they've not given a reason why. They just said, I just don't see myself with someone who is gay because I'm straight, which is wrong. And then I just explained I don't feel comfortable. But like, why? I want to know what there is that she's not comfortable with. I wouldn't call you an asshole, but there's definitely ignorance going on in not understanding the difference between being gay and being bi. That could be a big part of what's going on here. But also, I want to understand why there's a discomfort, before making a full judgment. Overall, I would say yes, you're the asshole, because rejecting a bisexual guy purely based on the fact he's bi and being like,
I would do it again even when I'm in a better place for dating and I want a relationship.
I think it's because of the potential reasons. One, you see him as gay, which is wrong. Two, you think he's gonna cheat on you with a guy. A straight guy could cheat on you with a woman. People either have the capacity to cheat or not cheat, and that isn't increased or decreased on whether they're straight or bi or, you know, gender identity, sexuality or whatever. So thinking that someone who's bi is more likely to cheat is bizarre. And then there is also the potential that someone feels uncomfortable with the fact that their partner used to date or has in the past dated someone of the same gender, and like, so her feeling uncomfortable about being with a man who's been with other men. When you pick down into it, it's either rooted in homophobia, ignorance, or false stereotypes that bi people are more likely to cheat, or like a combination of all three. So it's really, when you get into the reasoning, like, people can not want to date other people, and that's fine. If you don't feel comfortable about being in a relationship, I'm not sat here going,
Oh no, you have to date bi men.
I'm sat here going, the potential reasons available for not wanting to date a bisexual man or not feeling comfortable with it are rooted in a level of ignorance and homophobia and biphobia that might be good to address and think about where they're coming from. Especially if somebody's gone onto a forum to ask about it, I feel like she's having some kind of feelings that it maybe wasn't the best thing to do. Maybe he said something to her. In my opinion, there's not really a reason. Like, if you don't want to date a bi man purely because he's bi, there's no other reason other than the ignorance, misunderstanding, homophobia, biphobia bundle of stuff going on. But let's see what other people had to say. You're the arsehole. That is a prejudice, whether you like it or not. If he was pushing threesomes on you, that's understandable to not be okay with. If he was actively pursuing men in addition to you, that would be understandable to be uncomfortable with. If it makes you uncomfortable, there's nothing you can do about that. But breaking things off with someone just because they like an extra kind of person is still an arsehole reason. He's not gay, like you said. That would mean he only likes men. He has the capacity to like both, and he specifically liked you. That is summed up pretty well. Like, obviously there are individual behaviors that can happen in relationships that make you feel uncomfortable, but that is not dependent on sexual orientation. You have the freedom to feel uncomfortable and not want to date a bisexual man, but that is gonna get called out for being rooted in the prejudice that it is rooted in. You're the asshole. He is not gay, he is bisexual. You're also an asshole for feeling entitled to know his sexual preferences. He wanted to be with you. What more do you need? Yes. Yeah. I think I touched upon this in the beginning when she was like, but he didn't tell me he was bi for a month or two. Why did he need to come out to you? He's attracted to women. He wanted to date you. Did you need to know anything beyond that? You certainly didn't need to know anything beyond that, like super early in the relationship. It's fair for him to want to get that level of trust and getting to know you before saying that to you. You're the asshole. You're entitled to and should have broken up with him if you weren't comfortable. Neither of you should be in a relationship you don't want to be in. However, you should examine why you weren't comfortable. Yes. I have a feeling a lot of people will say you're not obligated to date anyone you don't want to and preference is okay. That's true, it is. But in cases like this, the reasons really matter. Calling it homophobic also seems too far, but look into the reasons why you're uncomfortable. Is it because you're afraid you can't give him everything he likes and will cheat? Is it because he's had sex with men and that feels uncomfortable because it feels dirty? A lot of those reasons of being uncomfortable in the first place will have biphobic undertones and motivations. Yeah, that last sentence really like sums it up very well. I do agree with, like, I wouldn't call it outright homophobia, but there's definitely, if somebody's straight and you dig deeper into why they're uncomfortable dating a bisexual person of the gender they're attracted to, there's always a current of biphobia going on, which can either be rooted in like genuine biphobic beliefs and like homophobic beliefs, or just an ignorance and not understanding what it means to be bisexual. Let me know what you thought of that one down in the comments. Oh, very interesting. I personally was a bit thrown by the comparison between straight men dating a trans woman and this straight woman dating a bisexual man, because
Not wanting to date trans people is
it's such a hot topic. It gets so confused about where the transphobic element lies, because like personally to me, it's okay to have a preference in dating scenarios, but preferences can often be rooted in ignorance and phobias and misunderstandings and everything. So it's important to delve into like the reason why. Next one, are you ready? Am I the asshole for wanting a female stripper at my bachelorette party? Oh, interesting. I mean, strippers are really common to have at, like, well, in the UK, they're like stag and hen do's. So No. Throwaway count because my other has some personal details. So OP is a 22-year-old woman and her fiance is a 24-year-old man and they're getting married soon. We've recently been planning our bachelor and bachelorette parties with our friends and the discussion of strippers came up. He wanted one, so I said no problem. He then jokingly asked if I wanted one too, and I actually agreed. I did in fact want one. He had no problem with that until I said that I'd want a female stripper like him rather than the male one he assumed I wanted. Okay, so she wants a female stripper. Interesting. Why is that a problem? Why would you be an asshole for wanting that? I don't understand. That's when the argument started. I'm bisexual, which my fiance has known about pretty much since we met, and it's never been an issue before. I've been with women and men before, and I just personally would prefer a woman over a man. I told him if he could have a female stripper, then so could I. He said it would be different, but wouldn't explain to me how, just insisted that it wasn't right for me to have one. That feels like prejudice. That feels like biphobia. Like he's uncomfortable with the fact that his fiance is bisexual in some way. Maybe not like all day, every day on like a top level, but there's some kind of current of discomfort going on there. I've talked to a couple of our friends about this and they're divided. Some on my side saying it doesn't matter the gender of the stripper when I'm attracted to them both. The others saying the same as my fiance, that it's different. One of my friends said that if I had a woman, that would basically be saying I'd rather be with a woman than him, which I honestly just find stupid. So Reddit, am I the arsehole for wanting a female stripper? No, I don't understand. That person who's arguing and saying,
Or if you had a woman, you're basically saying you'd rather be with a woman than him.
you could say like, well, he's having a woman. Does that mean he'd rather be with the woman who's the stripper and looks like her than with his fiance? No, nobody's saying that. And if she had a stripper who's a man and say like he was super buff but her fiance isn't, is that her saying that she actually wants to be with a super buff guy than her fiance? No, it's living out a fantasy. It's like the whole classic like one last night of like freedom type vibe, and that's why people typically get strippers. If they've both agreed that the other is comfortable with them having a stripper at their parties, why does it matter the gender? Like if he wanted a man stripper, sure, do it. I don't understand why it's a problem. Nobody has a stripper with the thought of,
Oh, I want to be with that person. I'm actually going to leave my fiance to be with this person.
and he's going to marry someone who is bisexual. If there's a discomfort over her displaying attraction towards women and he's got some kind of insecurity over that, then that's something that's present all the time. And it's going to come up more than just in this situation. This isn't about this scenario. It's not about the bachelorette party. It's about the fact that she is attracted to women and he feels insecure about that. I'm so convinced that that's where this is coming from. Obviously, I can't say 100%, but this sounds so much like a straight guy just being like,
Oh, my fiance's bisexual, which is like, yeah, cool when I don't think about it. But then even considering that she might be attracted to women and want to be with a woman at some point, no, I get really insecure.
that's what it feels like. And the fact that he's not giving a reason probably means there is a reason and he just doesn't want to say it because he knows it will be upsetting, or he doesn't fully understand the reason because it's rooted in this subconscious biphobia. I honestly don't understand why there would be a problem with you having a stripper who's a woman and not a man. I don't understand why someone would have a problem with this. There's been a lot of like biphobic stuff and like prejudice towards bi people in today's episode. This mindset of like
Ew.
from some people when it comes to dating a bi person, and it feels like OP's fiance is like okay with it until it's in his face. I wonder what his reaction is like if OP were to comment that a woman is attractive, like if they're watching TV and she's like,
Oh, that character's really hot, don't you think so?
I wonder if he would get like,
No, you can say that about the men, but don't say that about the woman because it's different, you know? I don't like that.
interesting. But yeah, definitely not the arsehole for wanting this. He's the arsehole. And half your friends sound like they're being a bit buttholey as well. Not the arsehole, and you're right about finding what your friend said stupid. There's literally no difference in him getting a female stripper and you getting one. The only thing that's obvious here is that your fiance is a bit insecure about you leaving him for a woman down the road. That's definitely the vibe I'm getting. Not the arsehole. It sounds like the difference in his mind is that for him a female stripper is one last hurrah before spending the rest of his life with you, and for you it's one last chance to change your mind before spending the rest of your life with a man. If he can't see the difference between you choosing him and you choosing his gender, that's a big old red flag that's completely on him. Wow. that summed it up in a really good way that I've never thought of before. When you're bisexual, you don't choose a gender. When you settle down with one person, if you settle down with one person, because not everybody does, but if you do, you're not choosing their gender. She sees herself with being with this man for the rest of her life, but regardless of her attraction outside of him on like a superficial level, she has chosen to be with him, and I'm assuming in a monogamous way, and he just needs to be less insecure about that. Not the arsehole, and his reaction is a bit of a red flag. Sounds like he's insecure about your bisexuality. It's fine for you to have a male stripper, but not right to have a female stripper. Is he afraid seeing a woman strip is going to make you realize you like women more and leave him? Smells like biphobia, babe. You're gonna have to get to the bottom of this and get him to work out his issues before the wedding. Oh, but harsh, but that would make me worry. Like, so I'm bisexual, so is my wife. Say I'd wanted, neither of us had strippers. We had a joint sten do. We did one together, but like, say I'd wanted like a guy stripper at mine and Shelby had an issue with that, that would have been a very big conversation about why, and depending on the reasons, that would really have required like a work through. Not that she ever would. Actually, like, it was explicitly said to the other that if we wanted that kind of thing, we could, and it could be whoever we wanted. But yeah, no, this makes me uncomfortable. It's like those things that seem kind of small. Like, to him, it might seem like a small thing to just be like, oh,
No, I'm not comfortable with you having a stripper who's a woman. It can only be a man.
but I feel like saying that now can't be undone. It's like unlock this box that needs to be explored of where's that coming from. He knows that his fiance is bisexual. Is there this undercurrent of discomfort? I think so. And is there this insecurity that he needs to work through? Yes. And that's a him problem. And I'm sorry that you're having to deal with this right before getting married to somebody. That sounds quite stressful. But yeah, definitely not the arsehole. So we had arsehole, not arsehole. Interesting. What did you think of today's posts? Arseholenesses? I don't know, but go comment down below what you think. Have a good chat.
Just popping back in with a reminder to go click that link in my description box to download Matchmasters for free and be in with a chance of winning one of 4 £250 gift cards to spend at Spectrum Outfitters. Happy Pride.
As always, thank you so much for watching. Think about giving thumbs up and subscribing if you want to, but no pressure. And I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.